After one of the more upset-filled Saturdays in the 2024 college football season, Week 11 may bring another chaotic state. Last weekend, 5 top 25 programs lost while playing an unranked team. The upcoming schedule has 22 ranked teams in action, and 18 of them are taking on an unranked opponent. Whose championship dreams will take a hit next? Otherwise, the marquee games of Week 11 are within the SEC. Georgia heads to Ole Miss, and Alabama plays at LSU. Hey there, welcome everybody to the Week 11 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. I am your host, Anthony Florio. I am joined at the moment by Michael Bullock. We are awaiting the presence of good old MF Michael Fletcher. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back with us tomorrow night for NFL Friday. But we are awaiting MF, and as soon as he gets in, we'll get him in here, and we'll go from there. So, starting this week and for the rest of our season here, we are going to go by the college football playoff rankings, the inaugural college football playoff rankings for this season. They came out this past Tuesday night, and we're gonna use those rankings for our docket this week. So, with all that being said, no Friday games. All games will be on Saturday here. So, without any further ado, let's dive right on in. The first of 3 12 noon games on Saturday. And we will start it off with the number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes back at home at Ohio Stadium, the Horseshoe in Columbus, and they will be hosting the Purdue Boilermakers. It's big noon Saturday on Fox, and you know who's working this as always? Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, the All-American girl, Jenny Taft, and Ohio State opening up as a 37.5-point favorite. The reality is Purdue just doesn't have enough solutions on offense. Save for an outlier performance at Illinois, the Boilermakers have not surpassed 337 yards or 21 points in Big Ten action. Anything is possible, sure, but Ohio State is 5th nationally in yards allowed per play. Ohio State wins this one going away. I got them smashing Purdue 48-14. Ohio State all over Purdue. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, come on in. Number 2, Ohio State at home against Purdue. Big noon Saturday on Fox. Buckeyes, 37.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I think we all know who's winning this game. This is Ohio State winning this one, and this isn't going to be close. I mean, yeah, there's really nothing more to say on this one. So let's move on to the next high noon game.
And we go to the ACC. And it will feature the number 4 Miami Hurricanes on the road against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. This game will be played at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field in Atlanta. You remember that's the football stadium where Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns had that legendary face-off prior to the Bad Blood pay-per-view last month, as we all remember. Great piece of cinema, by the way. And this game will be over on ESPN, and on the call for that one, it will be Bob Wischusen, Louis Riddick, and Chris Budden. And Miami opening up as an 11.5-point favorite. So it's 11.5 for the U. So, Michael Bullock, your thoughts as the U, Miami, number 4 in the initial CFP rankings on the road at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I think this is, I think this is a game that I think Miami will win. I mean, Georgia Tech could hang in there for a little while, but I think Miami's just going to pull away. They're just too good right now. So give me the U to win this one. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, Um, I'm going Miami. But if Georgia Tech quarterback Haynes King returns from injury, this is yet another thorny opponent for the Hurricanes. They have been mediocre on defense for the better part of a month, and King at his best is a productive dual threat quarterback. He's a game time decision, according to Tech coach Brent Key. But either way, whether Haynes King plays or not, I'm going with Miami to win this game. But I think it's going to be a little closer. I'm going to go Miami in this one, 37-30. Miami squeaks one out against Georgia Tech. And then our final 12 noon game, it comes to us from the SEC. The number 5 Texas Longhorns back at home at Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium in Austin. They're going to be hosting the Florida Gators. And this game will be over on ABC. And on the call for this game, of course, it'll be the voice of Monday Night Raw, Mr. Joe Tessitore, alongside of Jesse Palmer and Katie George. And Texas opening up as a 21.5-point favorite. These teams are in rather different spots, with the Longhorns coming in at 7-1 and number 5 in the poll, and the Gators just 4-4. And more concerningly still, Florida has lost 2 of their last 3 and is down to third stringer Clay Millen at quarterback. Part of why they're 21.5-point underdogs here. But it'll be interesting to hear Jesse Palmer call his alma mater, especially with the Gators facing so many questions at his old position of quarterback. For Texas, there's been a quarterback debate of some sort as well, with some flip-flopping between Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning. Ewers has battled injuries and also saw a brief performance-based benching against Georgia, but is back in the starting role now and persevering despite some injury effects lingering for a while. He's thrown for 1,389 yards and 14 touchdowns against 6 interceptions this year with a 69% completion mark. But he is facing some pressure from Manning, the hot prospect who's thrown for 920 yards and 9 touchdowns with 2 interceptions and a 69% completion mark in relief this year. Likely down to third-string quarterback, maybe Aiden Warner, Florida would need a miracle. It's tough to have a less welcoming introduction to college football than being an injury replacement against Georgia and making your first career start opposite this Texas defense. I got the Texas Longhorns winning this one. Hook 'em horns. Texas all over Florida, 34-10. I got Texas all over Florida. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is another one where I just think it's going to be too much for Florida to overcome here. So give me the Texas Longhorns, hook 'em horns to win this one. So let's move on to the next game.
Well, now we're going to move on to the 3:30 games, and we got 5 of them. And we're starting off with one half of that big SEC main event, that double main event in the SEC. 3:30 game on ABC. The number 3 Maiden Georgia Bulldogs on the road against the number 16 Ole Miss Rebels, Vaught Hemingway Stadium, Oxford, Mississippi. A game you can find, like I said, over on ABC. And on that call will be Sean McDonough, Greg McElroy, and Molly McGrath. And Georgia opening up as only a 2.5-point favorite. Very small spread indeed. So not much more else to set up here. So Bullock, here we go. First half of that SEC double main event. Number 3, Georgia on the road against number 16, Ole Miss. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this could be a really good game here. I mean, do I think there's a chance that Ole Miss could somehow pull off the upset here? It's possible. I mean, since they are playing at home, but Georgia's just too good. But it'll be a tight one all the way throughout this game here. So I'm gonna go with Georgia to win this one, but it's gonna be a real close game. But would I be surprised if Ole Miss pulls off the upset? No, I wouldn't be. So but I'm going to go with Georgia here. It's yours, Florio.
Yes. Just bear with me for a moment here. Okay, there it is. All right. Just needed to set the, okay. The 7-1 Bulldogs, number 3 in the CFP poll, enter as only 2.5-point road favorites, but the 7-2 Rebels are no slouch. Ole Miss is second in the FBS with 555 offensive yards a game, led by quarterback Jackson Dart. Dart has thrown for 3,210 yards to date with 21 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions and an almost 72% completion rate. For Georgia, their quarterback Carson Beck has thrown for 2,302 yards, 17 touchdowns, but he's thrown 11 interceptions, including 3 interceptions against Florida last week, and has just a 66% completion mark so far this season. We will see if he can keep up with Jackson Dart in this one if it turns into a shootout. Because of Georgia's recent success, as in recent years, you could be forgiven for immediately saying Georgia wins. Carson Beck, though, is trying to shake a pretty terrible 2-game stretch. He tossed 3 interceptions in both victories over Texas and Florida. I'm inclined to believe he will, but the warning signs are undeniably there. This is going to be a close game, but I think at the end of the day, I have to go with the maiden Georgia Bulldogs to steal this one. My final score, I'm going to go, it's going to be a close game, though. 27-20. I have Georgia barely getting by Ole Miss. Next 3:30 game, another good one here in the Big Ten. The number 8 Indiana Hoosiers at home at Memorial Stadium in Bloomington, Indiana. And they are going to be hosting the reigning, defending, undisputed college football playoff national champion Michigan Wolverines. And this is the Big Ten on CBS. And you know who's working that. You know who works that as always. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, Jenny Dell, and the spread favors Indiana. Indiana opening up as a 14.5-point favorite. This is an interesting game for Indiana. Looking solely at individual talent, Michigan is the best opponent of the Hoosiers' year so far. Indiana should win handily anyway, given the combination of IU's defensive strength and the struggle of Michigan's offense. But will the pressure of the moment be a factor? Indiana can break a program record in wins against the reigning national champion as a showdown at Ohio State, potentially at 10-0, looms for Indiana. And that is a lot to think about for the Hoosiers. But for right now, I have the Indiana Hoosiers. I'm sorry, Bullock and MF, wherever you are. I'm sorry, guys. I got to go with Indiana. I believe in this Hoosier team. Indiana will win, and my final score is going to be 34-17. The Indiana Hoosiers keep this magical season going before their big showdown against Ohio State coming up. I believe it's next week or the week after, but nonetheless, give me the Indiana Hoosiers to continue this magical season so far. I have them defeating the Michigan Wolverines 34-17. Not much more to say. Michael Bullock, I mean, I know it's been a rough go for you and MF and Michigan this year, coming off of your magical season last year, winning the national championship. Obviously, there will not be a repeat performance here. And now you got to go up against the Indiana Hoosiers. No question about it. They are the real deal.
Oh, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Indiana is definitely the real deal here. I mean, but like you said, next week's going to be the big test for them when they face off against the Buckeyes here. But for right now, I too have got to go with Indiana. I mean, like you said, the struggles for Michigan, especially offensively, it's just not good. Not good at all. So I'm with you. I'm going with Indiana as well. So let's move on to the next game.
All right. And the next game on our docket, just give me one moment. I do believe good old MF Michael Fletcher is heading on in. I'm just awaiting his arrival. So we most assuredly need to catch him up on the action that we have talked about so far. So, okay. While while we await his arrival, let's get into our next matchup, which features the number 17 Iowa State Cyclones on the road against the Kansas Jayhawks and this game is actually going to be at Arrowhead Stadium. Yeah. This game will take place at Arrowhead Stadium, the home of your back-to-back Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. And you can find this game over on Fox Sports 1. And on the call for that game will be Guy Haberman and Yogi Roth. And the spread favors Iowa State, but it's only by 3. It's a 3-point spread for Iowa State on the road against Kansas. So, Bullock, I think it's you who starts this one off, correct?
Yes,
so,
yes, it is me.
All right.
Because you
all right,
let
Bullock,
off on the last game.
Yep. Wow. Anyways, I'm saying wow because we got a Monday night football, we got a Thursday night football game, and it just got very interesting.
We got a good old fashioned Donnybrook when it comes to Thursday night football here.
The Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. Oh my goodness, what a battle we got going on here.
The Bengals are just about to tie this game up.
Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase, like in their LSU days, of course, and yes, man alive, that was something. So we knew it was going to be good.
What are we talking about here?
Huh?
What are we talking about? Iowa State and who?
It's number 17 Iowa State at Kansas. 3:30 on Fox Sports 1. Iowa State opening up as only a 3-point favorite.
Yeah, I mean this could be a good one here, but I mean Kansas could definitely be hanging in there throughout the game, but I think eventually Iowa State's going to pull away and just barely win this one. So I'm going with Iowa State to win this one. So it's yours, Florio.
I got to be honest, this is somewhat of a trap game for Iowa State. Gone is the unbeaten record, but Iowa State's hopes of a Big 12 championship are still alive. Kansas has played 5 one-possession games this season, so a close finish is a logical expectation, despite what the records may suggest. And it's a tough game, yes, but for right now, I have to go with the Iowa State Cyclones to win this game. But I would not at all be surprised if Kansas somehow pulls this out because, I mean, like I said, 5 one-possession games. I mean, they're a very scrappy team, but I got to go with Iowa State to get the win back from last week. I mean, they did lose, but I think they'll get it back here. Iowa State wins 26-23. That's going to be my final score for this one. So, with that being said, let's move on to our next 3:30 matchup, and it features the now number 23 Clemson Tigers on the road against the Virginia Tech Hokies, Lane Stadium, Blacksburg, Virginia. You know that it's been a long time since we've called that stadium off, but Clemson at Virginia Tech, number 23 Clemson at Virginia Tech on ESPN, 3:30 kickoff. And on the call for that game will be Mark Jones, Roddy Jones, and Quint Kessenich. And it is Clemson opening up as a 6.5-point favorite. So with that, let's get into this matchup here. Okay, I know I have it in here somewhere. All right. If the Hokies are without quarterback Kyron Kyron Drones, the upset chances drop considerably. While backup Colin Schlee has a decent bit of experience, he'll be facing what's typically been a stout defense. Clemson needs to bounce back after the loss to Louisville, but I'm not going against this team following one very bad performance. I got Clemson winning this one. I think they'll eke it out. I think they'll steal one at Virginia Tech. My final score, 27-20. Clemson gets by Virginia Tech. So there definitely is a threat of an upset here, no doubt. But for right now, I got to go with Clemson, 27-20. So, Michael Bolick, your thoughts. Number 23, Clemson on the road at Virginia Tech. Clemson looking to bounce back after they got embarrassed. You remember our Iowa State got embarrassed last week. But Clemson, oh boy, Clemson absolutely got smashed at home by Louisville, and they need a get right game big time here.
Yeah, they need this as a get right game, and I think this will be for them. I mean, especially after that performance last week. So I too am going with Clemson to win this one. So nothing more to say. On to the next game.
Okay, and this will be our final 3:30 matchup. The number 25 Army Black Knights on the road against the Mean Green of North Texas. This game will be at DATCU Stadium in North Texas. And this game can be found over on ESPN2. Mike Monaco and Kirk Morrison, they will have the call for that one. And the spread favors Army by 4.5. It's a 4.5 point spread for Army. So, Michael Bullock, your thoughts? Number 25 Army on the road against the fairly decent North Texas team, and the spread is only 4.5 for Army.
Yeah, it's barely Army being favored by only that much, but I think they can pull this out. I mean, it's going to be a close one, but I too am going. I am definitely going to go with the with Army to win this. So it's yours, Florio.
The status of Army quarterback Bryson Daly is a key story. He missed last week's win over Air Force, but the margin for error is thinner at North Texas, since comments from Army coach Jeff Monken are at least trending positively. The Cadets should be able to outlast a productive North Texas offense. Army, close game, but I think Army will squeak this one out. My final score, 31-24. Army gets by North Texas. All right, so we move on to a 4 o'clock kickoff, and we can find this game over on Fox. The number 20 Colorado Buffaloes on the road against the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Jones AT&T Stadium in Lubbock, Texas. And this game can be found over on Fox. And on the call for this game, it will be Jason Benetti, Brock Heward, and Allison Williams. And Colorado opening up as only a 4-point favorite. 4-point spread for Colorado. So let's get into this one here. How believable is Colorado's defensive rise? The truth will be a decisive factor in whether Colorado takes advantage of its suddenly favorable path to the Big 12 championship game. Texas Tech is a good, not great offense, so a good defense can handle this road trip. That's on Colorado to prove. Texas Tech, I believe, will give Colorado fits, but I think at the end of the day, Coach Prime and company will find a way to eke it out. I have a lot of close games on this docket this weekend. Here's another one of them right here. High-scoring game, but I think Colorado will pull it out. 33-27, Colorado steals one at Texas Tech, but it will not be easy. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, this is most definitely a trap game for Coach Prime and number 21 Colorado at Texas Tech, but I think Colorado should be able to eke it out.
Yeah, I think they should be able to eke it out as well. I mean, yes, I do think Texas Tech is going to hang in there. I mean, but I just think at the end of the day, Colorado will somehow pull it out. So give me Colorado to win this one. So it's yours, Florio, for the next game.
And we now move on to the primetime games now. And we got a lot of them. So with that, we have the first of our 2 7 o'clock games. And this will be out of the Big Ten. The number 1 Oregon Ducks back at home at Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon. And they're going to be welcoming the Maryland Terrapins to Eugene. And you can find this game over on the Big Ten Network. And on the call for that game, it will be Jeff Levering and Jake Butt. And Oregon opening up as a 24.5-point favorite. Michael Bullock, number 1 Oregon at home against Maryland to kick off our primetime slate of games.
Yeah, Oregon, I mean, what can you say? They're having one of their best seasons right now. I mean, obviously with them being as the number 1 team in the nation, and yeah, I think this should be an easy win for them. So give me the Oregon Ducks to win this one. So it's yours, Florio.
Oregon has been cruising and should continue to do so. Cross-country trips, as expected, have become a glaring issue in the Big Ten, and Maryland is a hefty underdog anyway. I got Oregon smashing Maryland 41-21. Oregon all over Maryland. Move on to the other 7 o'clock game from the SEC. The number 7 Tennessee Volunteers back at home at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. And they're going to be hosting the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And this game will be over on ESPN. Dave Patch, Dusty Dvoracek, and Taylor McGregor will have the call for that one. And Tennessee also opening up as a 24.5-point favorite. Same spread for Tennessee here. The good news for Tennessee is the defense keeps thriving. The bad news is since SEC play began, the offense has struggled to find explosive plays. Mississippi State has surrendered the most gains of 20-plus yards, so this is a get-right opportunity the Vols desperately need before a showdown at Georgia. Tennessee should win this one comfortably. Tennessee all over Mississippi State, 42-21. Tennessee all over Mississippi State. Not much more to say on that. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this should be an easy one here for Tennessee to here. So yeah, I got Tennessee winning this one as well. So nothing more to say. Let's move on to the next game.
Okay, we have 2 7:30 kickoffs to get into. Now, this next game, honest to goodness, when the schedule came out, the college football schedule for this season came out, this was pegged as a potential big game, a game of the week, game of the year type game. Oh no, not anymore. It's not. 7:30 kickoff. It's the number 10 Notre Dame Fighting Irish back at home at Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend. And they are going to be hosting the Florida State Seminoles on NBC. It's Notre Dame on NBC, and believe it or not, the Big Ten Saturday Night Crew is going to be calling this game. Noah Eagle, Todd Blackledge, and Catherine Tappan. Notre Dame opening up as a 25.5-point favorite. Michael Bullock, I mean, when the schedule came out, we were thinking Florida State, Notre Dame, oh, this is going to be good. Fast forward all these months later, yeah, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, when the schedule, like you said, originally came out, I mean, we thought this had the potential to be something real good. But fast forward to now, especially after Florida State losing in Ireland. Yeah, it's been hard times for the Florida State Seminoles. So yeah, this one's not even going to be close. So give me the Notre Dame Fighting Irish to win this one. So it's yours, Florio.
Initially circled on the calendar as a crucial late season matchup, this has instead become an expected rout. Florida State has trudged to 14.4 points a game, the second worst mark in the country, while Notre Dame is fourth nationally at 12.1 points allowed per game. Notre Dame all over Florida State, 42-10. Notre Dame all over Florida State. But we move on now to, without a doubt, the game of the week for college football this week. This is the game of the week, no question about it. It's the Saturday night game of the week on ABC, and it will feature the number 11 Alabama Crimson Tide on the road against the number 15 LSU Tigers, Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on ABC. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Holly Rowe, maybe Laura Rutledge as well. I don't know, but we know it'll be Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, and for certain Holly Rowe. And we want to take a moment to send our thoughts and prayers to the family and friends of Kirk Herbstreit. Kirk Herbstreit's beloved dog Ben passed away earlier today, and very gut-wrenching indeed. But Kirk Herbstreit, of course, he's currently working the Thursday night football game right now with the legendary Al Michaels, and doing an admirable job. I mean, I know it had to be hard for him today because of how much media attention and how much love on social media has been shown towards that beautiful dog, to say the very least. Beautiful, beautiful dog indeed. And our thoughts and our prayers with the Herbstreit family, and an admirable job by Kirk Herbstreit tonight. And I know he'll be ready for this game on Saturday night. And the Baltimore Ravens have just taken the lead back. Lamar Jackson with a touchdown pass to Rashad Bateman. So 1:49 to go, and Baltimore ahead of Cincinnati. So just like the game a number of weeks ago in Cincinnati, this one is definitely going to come down to the wire again. What a battle this has been. But they're obviously, and I'm sure it's going to be the extra point here. Yes, it is. And 4 touchdown passes for Lamar Jackson on the night. Extra point is good. So it is 35-28 Baltimore, 1:49 to go. And Cincinnati, it looks like they only have 1 timeout to work with. So we'll see what Joe Burrow and company can do. But anyways, Alabama and LSU, this is the game right here. This is, for me anyways, I consider this far and away the game of the week for this upcoming week. So let's get on. Let's get on with this one here. Let's dive on in. Alabama, I forgot to mention Alabama opening up as a 3-point favorite. It's a 3-point spread for Bama. The Crimson Tide and Tigers are a little further down the CFP rankings than they often are at this point of the year, entering at 6-2 each, and at number 11 and number 14 respectively. But this is still a big game, especially in a 12-team playoff era, and College Game Day will be there for it. And Alabama against LSU at night in Death Valley certainly has some potential. For a 3-point road favorite, Alabama, quarterback Jalen Milroe remains in the spotlight. He has thrown for 1,937 yards and 13 touchdowns this year, and rushed for 380 yards and 12 touchdowns, but has tossed 6 interceptions and posted a 67.5% completion mark. For LSU, entering off the heels of a 38-23 loss at Texas A&M in their last game 2 weeks ago, Their quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier, has thrown for 2,627 yards with 20 touchdowns and 9 interceptions and a 62.5% completion mark. We'll see which pivot comes out on top Saturday. Will the loser be eliminated from the college football playoff race? That is a fair question to ask, even if the answer is more yes for LSU than Alabama. Just look at the initial CFP rankings for that reasoning. The result probably hinges on whichever offense does a better job protecting the ball, and that's pretty much a toss-up based on the last month. Because of the fact that this game is at LSU, I'm actually gonna call for the upset here, and I'm gonna take LSU in a tight one at home. But I would not be surprised if Bama were to steal it. But I'm actually gonna call for the upset here. I'm gonna say LSU upsets Alabama, 26-23. LSU upsets Alabama, but I would not at all be surprised if Alabama stole it. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, the game of the week, number 11 Alabama at number 14 LSU. This rivalry has always produced some fun games over the years, and Saturday night, I believe, will be no exception.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be another classic game between these two schools. But man, I mean, this could go either way. I mean, it's tough, but you know what? I'm actually going to agree with you, Florio. I'm going to go for the upset and go with LSU to beat Alabama. I mean, but I would not at all be surprised if Alabama somehow ekes out a win over LSU. But give me LSU to win, so it's on to the next game.
I believe we have a 7:45 kickoff. Yes, we do. A 7:45 kickoff on the SEC network. The number 24 Missouri Tigers at home at Memorial Stadium at Farrat Field in Columbia, Missouri. And they are going to be hosting the Oklahoma Sooners. And this game will be over on the SEC network. Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, and Cole Kubelik, they will have it. And the spread favors Oklahoma. Oklahoma opening up as a 3-point favorite. So, Michael Bullock, what says you when it comes to Oklahoma at number 24, Missouri?
Ooh, this could be another tough one here, but I'm going to give the slight edge to Missouri here. I think they'll somehow pull this one out, but I would not at all be surprised if Oklahoma comes in and pulls off the upsets. But I'm going to go with Missouri to win this one, but I'm not too confident with this. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah. This definitely an interesting matchup here. Right now, I would definitely go with Missouri to win here. Because Oklahoma, I mean, this has not been a good year for the Sooners, and I don't like their chances going on the road and having to go into Columbia, Missouri, and beat a solid Missouri team. So I do not have a formal preview of this one, but I am going to go with Michael Bullock here, and I am going to go with Missouri to win this one. My final score. I'll try to figure out a final score here because I don't have anything to really work with here. I'm going to go 24-20. Missouri squeaks by Oklahoma. So with that, let's move on. We have 3 8:00 games to get into. And the first one, it's Big Ten Saturday night. But the thing is, Big Ten Saturday night for this week only, not on NBC. It'll be exclusively on Peacock. 8:00 kickoff, and it features the number 6 Penn State Nittany Lions once again at home at Beaver Stadium in Happy Valley. And they're going to be hosting the runners-up from last season, the Washington Huskies, game exclusively on Peacock. And on the call for that one will be Paul Burmeister and Colt McCoy. And Penn State opening up as a 13.5-point favorite. So we can definitely get into this one. Back across the country one final time. Unfortunately for Washington, the long trips have not gone as hoped in 2024. Washington has already lost at Rutgers, at Iowa, and at Indiana. And Penn State is the best of the bunch. At least it's not a noon Eastern kickoff for Washington, but Penn State definitely needs this one after that tough luck loss at home against Ohio State last week. I think Penn State will bounce back and get the win here. Final score for me, Penn State over Washington, 27-17. Penn State gets it right and has a get-right game here. So 27-17, Penn State defeats Washington. Not much more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts? Penn State back, looking to bounce back after that tough loss at home against Ohio State. I mean, they hung with the Buckeyes a week ago, but they came up just a little bit short, and now they got to host Washington. I think Penn State can get it back here. I think they will get it back here, and they will win. My final score, 27-17. So, Michael Bullock, can Penn State bounce back as they host Washington on this special Peacock edition of Big Ten Saturday Night? So, Bullock, are you there? All right, I'm guessing he had to step away for a minute. So, okay, there he is. Okay,
No, I'm right here.
All right, just making sure.
Yeah.
Number 7, Penn State at home against Washington. Big Ten Saturday Night exclusively on Peacock this time around because of Notre Dame being on NBC. So, Penn State looking to bounce back at home after that tough loss to Ohio State, and they hung with them and then some, but they just came up short.
Oh, they did. They did hang with Ohio State all the way, but it just wasn't enough. So they're looking for a get right game, and I think this is the perfect get right game for them. So I'm going with the Penn State Nittany Lions to win. So it's yours, Florio, with the next game.
Our second 8:00 game, and it features the number 12 Boise State Broncos back at home at Albertson Stadium on the Smurf turf in Boise, and they will be hosting the Nevada Wolfpack. This game will be over on Fox, and on the call for that one, well, I actually don't have the announcers for that game. It doesn't on my announcer sheet here. So, but the game will be on Fox, and yeah, no, I don't have they don't have it listed. So, but rest assured that game will be on Fox. Boise State opening up as 24.5-point favorites. And Michael Bullock, the main reason for Boise State being back in the line, being back in prominence here, is because of their Heisman Trophy candidate at running back, Ashton Gianti. Have you seen this kid? This kid is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? He is unbelievable for them. I mean, and this is the reason why they are where they are, and also in this position here where they're number 12. So, yeah, I mean, this is, yeah, what can you say? This team is really, really doing really good. So yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. I'm going with Boise State here, so it's yours, Florio.
Yeah. Boise State relies heavily on running back Ashton Gianti, and Nevada is 93rd nationally with 4.6 yards allowed per carry. It seems like a straightforward path for the Broncos at home. Boise State wins. My final score, 42-20. Boise all over Nevada. We have three games left. Our final 8 o'clock game. And it comes to us from the ACC. The number 18 Pittsburgh Panthers back at home at Acrisure Stadium, formerly Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, and they will be hosting the Virginia Cavaliers. And this game will be over on the ACC network. And on the call for that game will be Wes Durham, Tom Luginbill, and Dana Boyle. And Pittsburgh opening up as a 7.5-point favorite. So it's been a theme so far. Teams looking to bounce back after tough losses. And Pittsburgh absolutely got smashed by SMU, of course. And we'll get into that in a minute here. The gauntlet continues for Virginia, which started 4-2, but is currently in a 6-game stretch that includes 5 ranked teams. And so far, the Cavaliers are 0-3. While it's plausible Pittsburgh is reeling after a terribly lopsided loss at SMU, one disaster should not derail the Panthers. I got Pittsburgh winning 30-23, and the Cincinnati Bengals have tied the game. Cincinnati has just scored a touchdown. Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase again. 38 seconds to go. Now the Bengals have an interesting decision here. Do they go for the extra point to tie it? Or do they possibly, dare I say, go for 2 and try to go for the win here? And try to steal one in Baltimore? And judging by the looks of it,
looks like they're going for 2.
They're going to go for 2. Oh,
they're going to do it. So let's see what happens here.
This is for the lead.
This could be the game. Win. This could be the game.
Yep, I'll convey it here. Here we go.
Let's see. Hold on. Here we go.
Yep, I have it here.
He's changing the play.
Play clock winding down. And the play clock runs out.
Or did they call a timeout? They did call a timeout.
But, oh my goodness, another 5-star Shakespearean drama classic between the Bengals and the Ravens. Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase. Yet again. And it's currently 35-34 Baltimore. Oh my word. We knew this was going to be. They obviously wanted to see what the defense had. 38 seconds to go.
All right, here we go.
They're going to go for 2 once again. So I'm going to take the commentary on this one here. So, all right.
All right, still in the shotgun formation here.
Burrow looks, throws, incomplete.
Incomplete.
And no flags.
No flags on the play.
And it looks like the Ravens are going to hang on here.
Well, they still got to go for the onside kick.
Yeah, the Bengals will most definitely go for the onside kick.
And look at
Mike Gesicki is pitching a fit here. He thinks there should have been a flag, but
well, I want to see the replay again to see if.
I mean, you saw the look on his face. I mean,
let's take a look. Hold on. Let's see the replay.
Set it up.
Ooh, I think there was some
a flag on that one.
I think there might have been. There was a lot of hand grabbing from the Ravens.
Well, there were no flags, and
I mean, unless the Bengals recover this onside kick, it looks like the Ravens are going to survive.
Yes, indeed. And what a way to start week 10 of the NFL season. And we will most assuredly have a lot to say about this game come tomorrow night as part of TXN Sports World NFL Friday Week 10 edition. So they're going to go for the onside kick here with 38 seconds to go. Last chance here for the Bengals because they do not have any timeouts left. So
yeah, so even if they do recover, we got ourselves a timeout here.
Ravens call a timeout.
That's their second.
It's their second. Oh, and
Ooh,
Burrow
hold on
might
a
have been.
second.
I
I think
think there might.
Burrow. I think there could have been a face mask called on the Ravens too, because one of the Ravens defenders looks like got a little bit of the face mask.
Man, how
Wow, there
how they
was.
let that go is beyond me.
Yeah, I think that's one of the referees I think may have missed.
I don't understand. I don't for the life. Well, I don't know. I don't know why for the life of me
I
that
mean, did you
that's
just
true.
see it?
Well, here we go. Onside kick,
Yep,
and
the
the Ravens
Ravens
have
got it.
recovered. Yep, and that will put the
Yeah,
bow on that one.
even Terry McCauley just said a penalty should have been called.
I'm hopeful MF will be back with us tomorrow night because I would love to pick his brain about this because you know his detailed analysis. I mean, I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say
Yeah,
about it if we get him on
my
tomorrow
my
night.
guess is it's work commitments beyond his control.
Aha! I figured as much. Okay.
Even though he never responded to, but that would be my logical guess for why he's not on.
Yeah, that would be mine too. So, but hopefully we'll have him back with
So
us tomorrow
Lamar
night.
Jackson takes the knee, and that is that.
The Baltimore Ravens defeat the Cincinnati Bengals 35-34 in another five-star shootout between these two. The Ravens improved to 7-3 on the season. The Bengals dropped to 4-6. And we will and next week the we got the Bengals. Next week, Cincinnati will be playing Sunday Night Football next week at the Los Angeles Chargers. That's another solid matchup. And as for the Baltimore Ravens, oh boy, they're going to be playing. They're going to be squaring off against the Pittsburgh Steelers next week in Pittsburgh. And I'll tell you right now, that's going to be our number 2 game of the week next week. We all know what the game of the week for next week will be. That, of course, the divisional playoff rematch with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. So, which we'll get into next week. But anyways, we will definitely elaborate a great deal more on this game tomorrow night on NFL Friday. So with that being said, Bullock, did you give your thoughts on the Virginia Pittsburgh game or not yet?
I didn't yet.
All right.
Did you already?
Yeah, I mentioned that the gauntlet continues for Virginia. They started 4-2. They're currently in a 6-game stretch, including 5 ranked teams. The Cavaliers are 0-3 so far. It's possible Pittsburgh is reeling after that terribly lopsided loss at SMU. One disaster I don't believe should derail the Panthers, but I got Pittsburgh winning this game. My final score 30-23. Pittsburgh squeaks by Virginia. And now I give it to you, boy.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I'm definitely going with the. Yeah, I'm going with the Pittsburgh to win this one as well. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Uh, let's move on.
All right, we got 2 games left, and we have a couple of late night kickoffs to get into. 10:15 p.m. kickoff on ESPN. The number 9 BYU Cougars on the road against the Utah Utes from Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City. And on the call for this game will be Dave Fleming, Brock Osweiler, and Cherie Burris. And BYU opening up as only a 3-point favorite. Bullock, there's no question about it. This is a trap game for BYU. They're at Utah. And I know Utah's not really ranked anymore. I get that, but they're still a tough team, you know.
Yeah, they're still a tough team. I'm with you on that. I mean, this is one that could go either way, but I gotta go with BYU to win this one. I think they'll they'll barely eke one out here. So, BYU wins. It's yours.
In a lost season, Utah would absolutely love to ruin BYU's perfect season. And hey, the defense is good enough for it. During a 4-game losing streak, however, Utah has not scored more than 19 points. Tough to see an upset happening unless that changes. I got BYU winning as well. Close game. BYU steals one at Utah, 23-16. BYU over Utah. Final game of the night, a 10:30 p.m. kickoff on the CW. The number 21 Washington State Cougars at home at Gisa Field at Martin Stadium in Pullman, Washington. And they're going to be hosting the Aggies of Utah State. Game, like I said, over on the CW. And on the call for that one, it'll be Ted Robinson and Ryan Leaf. Ted Robinson and Ryan Leaf on the call for that one. Washington State opening up as a 20.5-point favorite. So on the bright side, Utah State snapped a 6-game slide with a win at Wyoming 2 weeks ago. However, the visitors may otherwise be allergic to defense. They are second worst nationally with 41.5 points allowed a game. Not a good sign. Washington State should win this one comfortably. Give me Washington State 45-28. Nothing more to say except take us home, Bullock.
Yeah, I got Washington State winning this one. I don't think this is going to be close here. So Washington State wins. Florio, let's put a ball on this and set up the future content.
Alrighty. So, like Bullock said, with that will put the bow on this Week 11 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We'll be back with you again tomorrow night, 10:30, right back here on the Tone 25 for the Week 10 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. We will recap the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. What a game this turned out to be. No big surprise. And then from there, we'll get into the remaining slate of week number 10. Some good matchups to get into, including the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Washington Commanders. That's going to be a fun game. And Sunday Night Football, the Detroit Lions and the Houston Texans, the two most notable games of week number 10. And we're going back to Germany with the New York Giants and the Carolina Panthers, just to get into that. So that'll be tomorrow night. Saturday night, as of right now, we have it for Saturday night around the 10:30 threshold. MF will have it, hopefully. Brace Fan 95, Cerebral Smack Talk. Friday night SmackDown. And in his Mikey's Mindset, MF will have AEW Collision that was taped earlier tonight right here at the Amica Mutual Pavilion in Providence, Rhode Island. And I know MF will have his results in that in the Mikey's Mindset. And then Monday night, we do it all over again. Ridiculously Raw here on the Tone 25 at 10:30 as we continue on the road to Survivor Series War Games and with Monday Night Raw. And, of course, my latest Tony's take on TNA Impact and NXT Level Up. Wednesday night, we got Wednesday Night Madness. That, of course, will be with MF. We'll have NXT. We'll have AEW Dynamite, as we always do. And we will preview Thursday Night Football for next week. And we got a good one. We got another good one next week. The Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. Huge game in the NFC East. And we'll get into that on Wednesday night. And then 1 week from tonight, the Week 12 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. And next week, we got some good ones next week. We got Clemson at Pittsburgh. Colorado at home against Utah. Texas at Arkansas. LSU and Florida. Virginia and Notre Dame. Oregon and Wisconsin. But the game of the week next week, without question, Tennessee at Georgia. And that's going to be a fun one to get into next week. So with that, that'll put the ball on this. So until tomorrow night for the Week 10 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, this is Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock. And in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher. And of course, I always and forever, our first lady, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night, for the Week 10 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, you have been watching the Week 11 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.